I mean, again, man, because if the roles were reversed, you know, he wouldn't take it easy on me, and it's just the reality of the sport.
But the one interesting thing that was one of the takeaways when I fought him, even though I beat him, I said, you know, he actually had a really good jab.
Remember what I said before. I said I don't think, you know, I think that none of us should be bigger than the sport, and I stand by that. Even when, you know, for me, possibly the greatest ever.
The world of boxing is holding its breath for July 19th as the legendary Manny Pacquiao steps back into the squared circle. But this is no ceremonial return. Waiting for him is the current WBC welterweight champion, Mario Barrios, a man who has made it abundantly clear he is not there to show respect, but to show dominance. Ahead of his clash with the boxing icon, Barrios has declared he is entering the ring with a singular, destructive purpose.
Anything other than, you know, it's just another opponent trying to take what's mine. You know, he's outside the ring. I have, you know, nothing but respect for him, nothing but respect for everything he's accomplished.
With youth on his side and a hunger to cement.
With youth on his side and a hunger to carve out his own legacy, Barrios has issued a stark warning. He is approaching this fight with malicious intent. At 30 years old, 16 years younger than Pacquiao, he isn't planning on letting the legend coast through the rounds. He's aiming to inflict damage, secure a stoppage, and claim his own place at the pinnacle of the sport.
You know, like I said, I'm going there. I'm gonna work on, you know, our game plan. I'm going in there with bad intentions, and yeah, you know, at any point if I see, you know, I have him hurt, I mean, it's kill or be killed in there, you know. So if I see I have him hurt, you know, like, yeah, I'm gonna try to get him out of there.
Barrios has been direct, stating this will not be a feel-good farewell for a boxing hero. He has no intention of going easy on Pacquiao just because of his legendary status. In his mind, the roles are clear, and he believes Pacquiao would not hesitate to go for the knockout if their positions were switched. For Barrios, boxing is a matter of survival, a business where it's kill or be killed, and he plans to bring that exact mentality to the MGM Grand Arena. This won't be a controlled exhibition like we saw with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Barrios is coming to dominate.
Barrios says he's out to dominate.
I mean, again, man, because if the roles were reversed, you know, he wouldn't take it easy on me, and it's just the reality of the sport. Like I said, man, it's kill or be killed in there, and yeah, so I'm going in there. I'm going to try to defend my title by any means necessary.
Meanwhile, the 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao is taking his preparation with the utmost seriousness. Understanding this could be one of his final appearances in the ring. He has been seen training with relentless intensity in Los Angeles, running the steep inclines of Griffith Park and pushing himself to the limit. Despite a 4-year hiatus from the sport, Pacquiao insists that the speed and movement that defined his prime are still intact, claiming nothing has faded and that he's working harder than ever. This comeback isn't just about Barrios. It has ignited a broader conversation about legacy and the future of the welterweight division. One man watching closely is Conor Benn. Still contractually tied to a rematch with Chris Eubank Jr., the 28-year-old British fighter sees a potential route to the WBC title by facing the winner of this bout. Benn has openly admitted he would trade the Eubank fight in a heartbeat for a shot at the victor, and he believes Pacquiao still has a legitimate chance to win.
No, the WBC title was very, very real, and part of me goes, I wish, you know, I fought for the WBC title, world title. But ultimately, you got Barrios versus Pacquiao. I think Barrios is going to be in for a hard fight, to be honest. I think Pacquiao could win it.
Do you know what's mad? That when you done the face-off with Pacquiao in Saudi, you was getting a bit of a stick for it, but realistically, you could fight him for the WBC title, and then you can get no stick for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just boxing, isn't it? Everyone's always got something to moan about.
Keith Thurman, who has shared the ring with both combatants, offers a measured and insightful perspective. He knows from experience that Pacquiao possesses the power to hurt opponents like Barrios, particularly if the younger fighter's defense remains as vulnerable as it has been in the past.
I know he can hurt Mario Barrios. I hurt Mario Barrios on multiple occasions. Tank hurt him. So I know Pacquiao can hurt Barrios. I think that's the one thing in Pacquiao's favor. Mario Barrios was hurt against Ramos, right? So that's the thing, is the defense of Mario Barrios is still suspect. You know, he is there. He is willing to get caught. You can catch the kid. It's not hard to find.
If Barrios can keep Pacquiao at range.
Thurman believes that if Barrios can effectively use his jab to control distance and force the older Pacquiao to constantly work to close the gap, he could exhaust the legend and seize control of the fight. He stops short of making an outright prediction, instead highlighting the strategic avenues to victory available to each man.
But the one interesting thing that was one of the takeaways when I fought him, even though I beat him, I said, you know, he actually had a really good jab. And then he actually used that good jab when he beat Ugas, right? And Ugas beat Pacquiao because he stayed long, right? So I think if Mario Barrios works that good jab of his, stays long, makes the old man use his legs and do those stutter steps and works really hard to get on the inside, you know, I think, you know, he can, I think he can pull it off, you know, because it's all, I said this before, but Manny Pacquiao is notorious, one of those fighters throughout his career. When you look at his resume, you know, how come?
For his part, Barrios acknowledges the sheer magnitude of this moment. He describes being chosen by Pacquiao as a surreal experience, admitting he was initially shocked that a fighter of Pacquiao's stature was even aware of him. He views this bout as the ultimate culmination of his entire career, not just another title defense, but a true legacy fight. After the initial shock wore off, Barrios snapped back into fight mode, reminding himself that once the first bell rings, it's just two men in a ring with a world title at stake.
I mean, originally getting the fight, I was pretty like blown away. But you know, during training camp and everything, I'm not training with the mentality, you know, that I'm getting ready, you know, to fight an icon, to fight a legend. At the end of the day, he's just another man, you know, trying to fight for my title. So you know, I respect everything he's done in the sport. You know, even the person he is outside of the ring. But come fight night, you know, all that respect, you know, it's not going to be there. You know, like, and it's all smiles, you know, between both of us for right now. But yeah, you know, I know on fight night, you know, we're both going in there with bad intentions. He's going in there trying to, you know, take my title, and I got to do whatever it takes to make sure he does it.
His motivation is simple. He's the reigning champion.
Yeah, no, for sure. You know, just looking, you know, to going out there, just, you know, showcasing my skill, you know, showcasing, you know, my youth. Just using, you know, any advantage that I have, you know, to make sure, like, again, my hand is raised at the end of the night.
It's clear the pressure of the moment is immense. A victory over Pacquiao would catapult Barrios to a new level of stardom and credibility. A loss, however, especially to a 46-year-old returning from a long layoff, could derail his career. Analysts recognize that this fight's matchmaking was likely a straightforward decision, given both fighters' connections to PBC.
Pacquiao's a big name, and obviously Barrios a great fight for Barrios because, you know, he's the champion, and I think Pacquiao, you know, being that they both have connections with PBC, that's the easiest fight to make. So, you know, getting another title opportunity, I you know, just the name obviously, but I really believe that, you know, Pacquiao shouldn't be fighting. I think it's actually going to be a little. You know, I don't want to say sad because he's going to make a lot of money, so we can feel sorry for him. But at 46, almost 47, it's almost impossible for, you know, I'm just 4 years older, 3-4 years older than him, and it's not easy to try to think you're going to get in shape.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has added to the criticism, suggesting that Pacquiao's return is only possible due to a lack of elite talent in the current welterweight division. He sees Barrios as a regressed and vulnerable champion, making this a golden opportunity for Pacquiao to reclaim a title in what he views as a weaker era.
Remember what I said before. I said I don't think, you know, I think that none of us should be bigger than the sport, and I stand by that. Even when, you know, for me, possibly the greatest ever for me, Floyd Mayweather. I mean, I sound a lot of haters don't think that, but even Floyd, when he would walk in second as a challenger, it wouldn't be something I would have done. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you always have to. I feel like you always have to respect the sport first, you know. But nonetheless, some guys will take that upon themselves. Hey, I'm a bigger name, and I can just come into a title shot. I'm very curious to see if he's gonna walk into the ring second as well, or if Barrios is gonna walk into the ring second. If he's gonna like go all out, and because technically you're by the rules, and we know boxing never follows the rules, but you're not supposed to fight for a world title if you're coming off a loss.
As July 19th approaches, the fight's narrative has evolved into something far greater than a simple title defense. It is a clash of generations, a definitive test for both men. In a counter to the critics, some argue that Pacquiao has more than earned this opportunity, and that a long layoff can actually benefit an older fighter by allowing their body to heal, citing James Toney's late career resurgence as a prime example.
I got to jump in here. When they say that he's an icon, worthy, there's nobody more worthy of this opportunity than Manny Pacquiao, what he's given to the sport. And secondly, about inactivity. Remember this, it can work in two ways. I've been in this game a long, long time. Yes, most people would say you want to err on the side of caution of having activity, but sometimes when you're an older guy like James Toney, I did a lot of camps with James Toney, when they take a long time off and everybody goes, oh, he's shot. Guess what? With that long time off, he came back, he won the light heavyweight championship, he won the cruiserweight championship, and he won the heavyweight championship of the world. So you got to take that with a caveat.
Pacquiao has already hinted that his time in the sport is winding down, suggesting he only has 2 or 3 fights left. While he hasn't made any firm declarations about retirement, it's clear the finish line is in sight, adding significance to every moment of this comeback. He acknowledges that recovery is a different challenge at his age.
Overnight rest, you cannot easily recover. So I have to give my body time to recover sometimes.
Is this you back now for a prolonged period of time? How long are we going to see you keep fighting for now you've returned?
It's hard to say. Well, I'm back. So one at a time. After this fight, we can plan another whatever plans.
Meanwhile, Barrios and his camp are focused on writing their own story, confident that the unpredictable nature of boxing will fall in their favor. They project complete confidence in their strategy, believing their team has devised the perfect game plan to secure a victory.
Because like I said, sometimes it can work this way or it can work that way. And that's why it's going to be an interesting and a great fight for everybody to watch. And he's an icon. But at the end of the day, Azteca is coming out victorious July 19th. Take that to the bank.
And rest is key.
Yes.
Rest is key for some of these guys that been out of the ring. He's an older guy. Maybe he needed that rest.
That's like I said, I was in camp. I did, and you know that, Freddie. I was in and around your gym with James Toney. And that's why we know Manny Pacquiao real well. We got a great plan. We got Dom, we got Rich Briantis, we got his pops. We put a great plan together. We got a great team. And like I said, with all those minds coming together, there's nothing short of coming out victorious without Azteca, the best, the truth. All these 2-time world champion in 2 weight classes by accident.
So, who takes it? Does Mario Barrios deliver on his promise and end the career of a legend? Or does Manny Pacquiao pull off one last miracle? This fight will define the future of the welterweight division and the final chapter of an unforgettable career. Let us know your predictions in the comments below. Who are you riding with, Team Pacquiao or Team Barrios? If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from the world of combat sports. Until next time.